Hey guys, it's Izzy, and today we're going to be looking at my TBR for February. So these are all the books that I absolutely want to get to in February. My weekend reads are optional reads, and I don't include them in these videos because those are mood reading picks that I'll just read on Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and then be done with it, hopefully, unless I really mess up. So let's get into this video. Setting out to read 6 books this month because that will get me to my goal of 80 books by the end of the year. Last month I read 11 books, so I read 5 more than I anticipated on reading. So I think 6 books is definitely doable for me, but let's see what those 6 books are. So the first one is Batman: The Dark Knight, Volume 1, Night Terrors. So this is a comic book graphic novel, as you will. So here's what it is about. Something strange has happened to the prisoners at Arkham Asylum. They are psychotic and have randomly gained strength. They find their way to be released onto the streets of Gotham. The Dark Knight has to protect the citizens of Gotham, all the while finding out who is behind this event. So this is one that I think I stole from my dad personally because he was just donating them and hauling them, so I was like, oh, I'll get it. I've read some Batman. Obviously I haven't read any in this series because this is volume 1, but I am open to these things. They're not my absolute favorite graphic novels, but I do not give star ratings to graphic novels, I should say, but I'm always willing to give something a try. This one has been on my physical TBR for so long. I bought it in 2018 and still have not read it, so I am really happy to be finally getting to it, and that is Follow Me Back by A.V. Geiger? I'm not sure how to say their last name. So here is the synopsis. Tessa Hart finds solace in obsessing over pop icon Eric Thorne. Eric feels uncomfortable by how obsessed his fans are, so he has his PR team deal with his social media. Another pop star ends up getting murdered by a fan, and that makes Eric all the more fearful. Eric goes undercover to take down one of his biggest followers on Twitter, so she will no longer be a fan of him. So on the back it says, Tessa Hart's world feels very small, confined to her bedroom with agoraphobia. We had that agoraphobia representation. I've only seen it in 2 things. One was a comedy movie, so it wasn't really a rom-com, so I don't think the character actually had it. I think they were lying about having it, but you never know. And so who knows if this actually means that Tessa Hart is actually agoraphobic, but I never really see representation for that, so I'm really happy to see it here. Hopefully it is done properly, but obviously everyone's mental health journey is different. But this is a Wattpad sensation, or at least the author is, so I don't know how that will go. That could either go very wrong or very well for me. We're gonna hope it goes very well. We have another YA book, and this is my fantasy pick for the month, and that is Night Spinner by Addie Thorley. I got this in some subscription box, but I'm not sure which one. So we do have inside the dust jacket is a tundra scene. And then I do have a signed copy here, right there. So what is this YA fantasy book about? So Inabish was one of the greatest warriors in the Imperial Army. That was until she lost control of her powers and got sent away to a monastery. She is traumatized by her actions against innocent people. So her sister, who is in the military, comes to her with an offer. If Inabish can catch this one criminal, she can come back to the army. So throughout the story, the main character is stuck between conscience and duty. Yeah, so it sounds a lot like the Poppy Wars, kind of, in a way. And I'm currently finishing up that series right now. I have 20% of the story left. It's actually less than that, but rounding up numbers. So I don't know, this first half of my TBR I'm not really excited for. I draw them out of a hat, for those of you who don't know, so these are not mood reading picks. But I got it in a box, and I want to read it since I do have such a nice copy, and if I don't like it, I can unhaul it, and it can go to somebody who will enjoy it. But as I said earlier, I am willing to give anything a chance, so it might be my next favorite book, who knows. Okay, here's the second half of the TBR. This one I am super excited for, and that is These Old Shades by Georgette Heyer. How I found out about this book is I looked up 18th century romances, or just, it was 18th century fiction in general, and this came up and it was a romance. I was like, ooh, Outlander. But I actually found out this was published in the like 1920s, so I doubt it's gonna have a lot of steam. But romance can be enjoyable without having sex scenes. To let y'all know, it can be. You don't need the sex scenes in every single romance. So what is this one about? So the Duke of Avon has had a long feud, one that has spanned for decades. The Duke rescues Leone and makes them his new protege. With the new person, he gets the key to destroying his enemies and someone who can transform his heart. So we don't have a lot of romance elements by that description, but it says Leone is apparently going to transform his heart. And the book that I'm personally writing, don't ask too many questions, please, takes place in the 1700s in France, and so does this one. So that is a time period that I really want to research in fiction and nonfiction alike. And this one actually has a glossary for like slang words or sayings for that Regency era. So I think this one will be a lot of fun. Now we have a very highly anticipated book for me, and that is Medici Ascendancy by Matteo Struckel. So this is translated from Italian, and I have the whole series. I usually am not someone who buys the whole series before reading it, but I will read this whole series. I do not care. So let me tell you what it's about and then why I'm like interested in it. So in 1429 in Florence, Italy, Giovanni de' Medici is dead. His death was untimely, and he has left behind great success and bitter enemies. The wealth of the family is left to his two sons, Cosimo and Lorenzo. They have to unravel the mystery of their father's death while trying to also protect their family. So the Medici family is one of my favorite things to learn about in history. And a lot of the fiction books, the majority, are all about Catherine de' Medici. So she was Queen of France and lived in France since like the age of 9. So she lived pretty much her whole life in France. And she may come from an Italian family, but all those books take place in France. And I'm like, I am more intrigued about Italy than I am France. I do love French history though, so it's not like I'm hating the French or anything, because I do really like French history. But for this time period, I'm fascinated in Italy, and there were just no books about the Medicis in Italy. Finally, Matteo Struckel brought us one, and this takes place in Italy, in Florence, in 1429, like I just said. And so I think starting with Giovanni and then going down, I'm like, give me all. Give me a book on each Medici, please. He gives us 3 books, but still, I'm like, I want a book on each and every person in the whole family, thanks. Now we have one of my 5-star predictions. So I did a video earlier this month, or last month, on my 5-star predictions, and I'm going to be reading one each month until the list is over, and then at the end of the year I will be doing a separate video about all my thoughts on these books and if they really were 5 stars. So the one I'm reading this month is Anxious People by Fredrik Backman, and this is translated from Swedish. So 2 translated books this month, that's nice. So let me tell y'all what this book is about. So after a failed bank robbery, the robber runs to hide in a house that is currently having an auction. Inside, he takes all the people hostage, and there are people from all walks of life. An older couple, a wealthy banker, a young couple, and an 87-year-old woman who has seen enough of life that she does not care that a robber is waving a gun in her face. There is also a real estate agent and a man of mystery who has locked himself into the home's one and only bathroom. Each all have different and deeper backstories, and their stereotypes might make them appear. As the authorities and media surround the home and news story, this unlikely group of allies has to come together to take down the robber and find themselves along the way. So I've liked the previous Fredrik Backman book that I've read. I feel like his books are very character driven, so I feel like I'm going to get a lot of that, of character development in this book, even though I'm assuming it takes place all in one day, but still a lot can happen in one day. So I cannot wait to pick up this one by Fredrik Backman. So that is my TBR for February. Tell me in the comments which books you are going to be reading. And for my weekend reads, I'm going to be mainly focusing on romance, as Valentine's Day is this month. And I feel like that is the perfect time to read romance novels and just, you know, enjoy my life being single. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. That is usually at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!